Lisa Tanzer is the president of Life is Good, a Boston-based apparel company whose landmark slogan of optimism is known worldwide. She was the head of marketing at Life is Good and has been on the board of directors of the Life is Good Kids Foundation for over 20 years. Before taking the helm of Life is Good, a company with over 125 employees and annual global sales of $100 million, Lisa's resume included over 25 years of experience in product marketing and strategy at PricewaterhouseCoopers, Hasbro, Staples, and the Gillette Company. Her distinguished track record of success leading consumer brands and driving business with positive results has made her a role model for aspiring businesswomen. In her position as president at Life is Good, Lisa combines her passion for social good with business, bringing together the best of both worlds. The company donates 10% of its annual profits to the Life is Good Kids Foundation, an initiative very close to Lisa's heart. The Life is Good Kids Foundation supports the men and women who dedicate their careers to helping children heal from the devastating impact of early childhood trauma. Lisa is a graduate of Tufts University and earned an MBA from the Harvard Business School. She resides just outside of Boston and is the mother of 2 children. Lisa Tanzer, for your leadership and dedication to communities, we are honored to induct you into the 21st Century Women Business Leaders Hall of Fame, class of 2018. Okay, all right. Okay.
Hi, everybody. Thank you. I'll use this mic. Thank you so much. It's an honor to get this award, especially because I've learned so much about Bay Path University and their innovation for helping women and women leaders. So congratulations to you and your team for all that you do. A few people to thank, and I think one of them is the group of women who I get to work with every day. Many of them are here. Some of them aren't here, but I think they really exemplify what it's like to support each other and to lead together and to have each other's backs, which is really important. And my mom, stop videoing. And my mom, because I think that she was really the early leader from what we talked about this morning and encouraged me to stand strong and to take risks, you know, and to try new things. And I think we all need that kind of support behind us, so thank you.
You deserve
I love it.
Let's take a
It's so
picture
pretty.
right here.
It's gorgeous.
Isn't it? That's a
Yeah.
Josh Simpson for you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies. Now, I know that we have all heard your incredible bios, but I would like for each of you to tell us something that is not on your bio that you think would be interesting for the audience to know. And we can start with?
Sure. I mean, I think
Lisa.
what's not, well, it was on my bio to a certain degree, is that I was the first board member of a company called Project Joy, a nonprofit, which became the Life is Good Kids Foundation. But what's interesting, I think, about that was a favor to a high school friend when we were 22 years old. And we had just graduated college, and he was starting this nonprofit, and I helped him, and we still work together today, myself running the for-profit and him running the nonprofit. And so it's just, sometimes you never know what circumstance might open up and where it might lead you.
Yes, thank you. Are there any obstacles that any of you have had to overcome to get to where you are today?
Sure. I mean, I think to me, one of the obstacles was when I became a mom to try to figure out how to stay in the workforce yet be there for my kids. And it was always a balancing act of trying to sometimes find or take positions that might have been a level or two down, but I knew that they would, you know, allow me more time at home. Sometimes it was balancing the other way, and that was not a straight path. I wasn't somebody who stayed in the workforce full time all the way through. There were times I would do consulting very fortunate to do consulting assignments for people I had worked for, or work 20, 30 hours a week instead of 60. And so it wasn't an obstacle, but it wasn't something. I was very used to having a plan and knowing exactly how I was going to accomplish something. But I feel really fortunate that, now that the kids are older, and you open yourself up because you've stayed in and you've talked to people and you've been with people along the way, you're able to kind of step back into a bigger role.
Yeah, thank you. What is the best career advice that you were given? Lisa.
Sure. I used this example once before, and it was from my early days at Hasbro when I was an assistant product manager, and I had to do everything right, ahead of schedule, and it's a little feisty in my way. And one of the senior women there told me, pretend you have 10 marbles, and those are the marbles that you can use for the year with regard to the issues you're going to take a stand on. And it's not just the pick your battles. It's not like, what am I going to disagree with you about? It's what issues in business are you going to go after? What strategies? What are kind of your big rocks? And that always stuck with me because, you might have a disagreement. Is it really worth a marble? Is it really worth putting my neck out there? And is it really worth our team's time for a strategy? Yeah. So that was like 25 years ago, and I think it was, I use it every day with regard to prioritizing and thinking about what we need to focus on.
Pick your battles, yeah, and that might be something we use at home with our children as well.
I'm trying there.
Given the theme of this conference, what role has curiosity played along your career path?
I think for me, I'm naturally curious and a lifelong learner. I always want to figure something out, learn something new, see how we can expand. So in any job I had, I would end up doing my job plus I was always like the special projects girl for the CEO because I would offer my services up. I would go find new opportunities in other departments and just I was curious about this and it won't interrupt with my core job, but I want to be doing X, Y, and Z or learning these things. And over time, when you're curious like that, you're building a skill set, that might not have been, I was traditionally in marketing, might not have been in marketing, but could have been in finance and strategy. And to me, the thing that I think comes along with that is not being afraid to fail. So if you're curious and you're trying new things, you are going to mess it up some of the time, especially if it's something new. You're not going to be perfect at it. And so I think from the early days, I was like, if you screw up, what's the worst that happens? You'll pick yourself back up and learn the next time, and that lets you continue to be more curious.
And also, when you talk about leadership and your leadership styles, and you've also given some of the best advice that you have been given, what is some advice that you would give to the people in the audience today? Is it what you've been given, or is it something different? What advice would you give to our audience today?
I think the advice, and I don't know if it's advice or just really intuitive, but sometimes we forget, is everything's about the power of relationships. If you look back, every single thing, whether it's the job you get, the team you work with, your friends, your family, who do you have? It's similar. Who do you have to lean on that can help you solve a problem, answer a question? And if you value and nurture those relationships, it is about being vulnerable. It's about reaching out when you need to reach out, but it's also very much about supporting people and being open to people back. It comes back, comes back at you. And so to me, I spend a lot of time. Nolina, who gets to help with the calendar, some days she's like, who are these people that you're meeting with? You're busy, But it's networking with people who probably can't help you in that given moment. You're probably helping them more, but they're going to come back around through someone who knows someone and good karma and what have you. But just not to forget that those interpersonal relationships, support systems, teams are the things that will help you be successful.
Yeah, thank you. As women, and particularly you all, women in leadership positions, with so many facets of your life and managing so many things at work, how do you manage work, family, people? I heard all of you talk about different support systems that you have and surrounding yourself, but how do you do that work-life balance? And is there such a thing as a perfect one? Lisa, we'll start with you.
So we talk about that at Life is Good a lot because if you love what you're doing, your work and your family and everything should kind of be together and not separate. Now that doesn't mean work all the time or be with your family over time, but you can kind of weave those things You know, we're not like, we don't tell our folks, work 9 to 5 and then go home and be with your kids from 5 to 8 and then get on your email. You can kind of find a way to make that balance for you. And some days the demands on the family are the most important thing. Some days that's where you need to be, or get to be at your kids' plays, or get out early and help them with their homework. And some days the work will be prioritized. So I don't think it's a black and white situation. It's just fluid and do your best at any given day that you have. You forget in work-life balance or work-family balance about you. And you talked about sleeping and the like, and it's like, where's your balance? And that's been new for me, because it's like you need to do that in order to really stay at a high intensity level. I had my first review after my 1 year in the presidency with our CEO, who's our founder, and he's telling me all these awesome things that I did. And I was like, yeah, pretty good. And then at the end, he's like, but I have one really big thing. And I was like, my heart sunk. I'm like, what's his one really big thing? He's like, you have to take care of you. He's like, you're not doing a good job. You need to go to the gym. You need to go out for a walk. You need to work less. You need to spend more time with your family. And I was like, wow, that's his thing, because he knows what it takes. He's been doing it 25 years to stay in that position. I think it's important that as women, we recognize that and promote that to others.
Yeah, and one of the things that I talk about when I teach the course, Women as Empowered Learners and Leaders, how important it is for my students to take downtime. And what does that look like? So for you, and you talked a little bit about gym and things like that, what are some of the things that you do in your downtime? How do you unwind at the end of a long day?
For me, definitely trying to get to the gym is important. Recent years, I've found myself being drawn to spend more time outdoors, like paddleboarding and kayaking, which is kind of new for me. And I do think it's spending time with people who you want to spend time with, and I've gotten better at that too, because it could be very busy. But the people who your friends, your family, your coworkers, who really enrich, support, who you can enrich and support back with limited time, it's important to sometimes be selective, with your time there, but that's mostly it.
Take care of you, yes. And I know we want to have time to ask the audience for questions, so let me have you answer this last question. Finish this sentence for me. Every executive should know how to. Lisa.
I would say every executive should learn how to make sure yourself and your teams are focused on the most important things. It's really hard to get distracted, and next thing you know, you step back like, wow, we lost sight of the big, of the big idea. So I feel that that's my role, is to make sure people are staying focused on the most important things.